Okay, so let's talk a little bit about marketing intelligence systems and using the new technology and the new data that's. Of course, internal records and report systems where a lot of this data resides. It includes sales report systems, order to remittance cycle information, customer databases, supplier databases, and of course this is the data that we talk about in terms of marketing dashboards. But the most important part about this is the fact that with modern technology, we have the ability to house and analyze customer data that is at the individual level, not mass data, not cumulative data, not aggregated data, but individual level customer data. And of course, what changes then when I have individual level data and I have this internal database? Well, these things probably fall at least into three categories. One, you can determine how much each customer is worth, and then you can identify your best and worst customers, and then you communicate with those customers in a very personal way. Different communications for different kinds of customers. You can use that information to build better relationships with your best customers. Once again, one of the key notions here is to identify who my best customers are so that I can build better relationships with them. You can use it to increase lifetime value of customers by reducing defections, increasing the amount spent by customers, and reducing the marketing costs and increasing referrals. All of this based on who your best customers are, and then using that individual level data to analyze the best path moving forward. And then finally, you can profile your customers using a combination of behavioral, demographic, and psychographic variables. You can then turn around and clone your best customers. When we talk about cloning our best customers, it is much like the scientific notion of cloning. I find out what my best customers look like, and then I go out and I try to find customers that look just like them, that will react the same way to my marketing efforts, and will once again also become my best customers. You can do much more targeted in terms of your acquisition efforts to determine your best predictors of a profitable customer. And you can provide different levels of service depending on how valuable a customer is to your organization. In reality, this goes back to that notion of customer centricity that Pete Fader talked about, and the idea that we can discriminate between our customers and provide the best service to our best customers. Marketing information, marketing intelligence system is all about environmental scanning, trade information, competitor analysis, recruiting and competition's key employees, but it's also about understanding who our customers are with internal records. Some of the, we talked about this before about different kinds of secondary data. Here's some examples of a primary research firm and some data reporting service. As an example, the Nielsen reporting service. Here's an example. Here's a Nielsen television ranking report for network primetime households. And this goes all the way back to 2013, but it's just an example. In this particular week, the number one program was NCIS, followed by The Big Bang Theory and Dancing with the Stars. The data that Nielsen was able to provide us with is how many people were viewing that, what the rating was, and what the share points were for that particular week. In terms of marketing information and decision support systems, there is an in-house market research group, and then it could be an in-house market strategy group. Of course, there are external firms, and here I have some examples of some companies, including probably the two most famous marketing consulting companies, the Boston Consulting Group and the McKinsey Group, as examples of companies that will provide help in terms of developing your strategy. Your book talked a lot about the 5-step marketing research approach leading to marketing actions. And I think this is very important, but they've done a nice job of talking about it. Let me just mention one or two quick things. First, it all starts with defining the problem, developing a research plan, collecting the relevant information, developing findings, and then taking marketing actions. And of course, that makes perfectly good sense. The key to making this work, of course, is defining the problem and then deciding what information I need and how am I going to collect it, and then collecting it and using it to provide insight and better marketing decisions. You collect data to learn more about your customers to develop better marketing strategies, just as we said previously. And of course, an example of this is the marketing dashboard. Your book spends some time talking about marketing dashboards in virtually every chapter. Here's an example of a marketing dashboard where it talks about where it shows the Facebook and Twitter social media activities associated with Carmex. Then it also talks about share of voice and Carmex sentiment, that is share of voice in terms of all of the things that are being talked about in terms of lip balms, how much of it is Carmex related, in this case 35%, and how much of that is positive. The answer is almost all the Carmex sentiment is positive, with only about 5% at this case being what we would refer to as a negative sentiments towards Carmex. Once again, marketing requires accurate data to make smart decisions. That's why there's lots of emphasis on marketing research and the marketing information system.